Okay, we're back for another recap. Today is Tuesday, November 15th, 2022. And today was a frustrating day for me. I had a pretty decent analysis heading into today from the beginning of the week that was more or less spot on, but did not get an opportunity to buy and did not get the sell opportunity I was looking for either. I did take a break even today and a 1% loss, and it was kind of a frustrating day chasing price around, but that's just how it goes sometimes. So let's get into the action and figure out what went wrong and what could have been better. Just first thing to note, at the end of yesterday, I was expecting price to kind of maybe react from here, come down, fail to make a new low, and then hopefully show a buy entry in New York session. But what happened clearly overnight was after Asia session, London just kind of pushed up, created this big spike. We noted yesterday that this looked like we were getting some sort of three drives here. So after this third drive, which didn't quite reach the weekly high that I have marked out here, it looked like we could have seen a pullback here, which is what we got, especially since this price action from Asia just looks very, very ugly. Like it just was very vulnerable to being attacked here, which it was. And also the dollar index, if I quickly pivot to the dollar, this monthly level we pointed out on the weekly forecast on Sunday as an area where I was looking for some support based on the monthly. So we see that dollar came into that, showed some support. And not to say that this is going to fully reverse, although it could. It is a pretty strong level, but we were going to keep an eye on it and understand that might be a decent time to look to time that with NASDAQ shorts if we got a setup. So fast forward back to today. Here's what happened in the news at 8:30 before New York Stock Exchange opened. We got some high impact news that spiked here, and then price just kind of consolidated around the rest of the day or the rest of the morning session before selling off in right after lunch. And we just didn't get our buy. So once I didn't get the buy, I was focused mostly on sells, but you just had to wait for a setup, and the best setup that I could see. So let's just put the New York Stock Exchange open. Right here was that New York Stock Exchange open. So price came down, didn't quite fill this gap, rallied, left this imbalance. Let's zoom in a little bit closer. Left this imbalance, came down, formed a swing low, rallied, could not make a new high, and then started breaking down. This was where my first short trade was. We have this level here, this order block with this imbalance. So I got in right around here and was just targeting basically what this move was. I was targeting down here, this price action here. But instead, price came down to here and then rallied back up to hit my break even. Once price dropped below here, I didn't want to see any type of pullback, and figured if it did pull back, I could maybe get in again. But what happened was that kind of threw me off was we have this New York session low. This is the low of New York session up to this point in time. And we essentially rated this low into this level here and then showed this. This is where I got fooled. This imbalance right there. And I think I had my entry somewhere around here. It was looking like it was going to push up. I was feeling pretty good about it, and then failed to make a higher high here and then pushed down. And my first reaction was to cut the trade here. My stop was originally here, but I did cut the trade and I got back in right around the same level because I was like, this is still valid if I go back onto the lower time frame. Just because it made this range, came down, I thought, okay, it's coming just to fill this, and now it's going to go up. So I got back in. Turns out that was the worst thing I could have done. I took the loss here. Totally fine with that. I just didn't get a short setup at the end of the day. My short setup was here, and once it hit my break even and came back up, I thought, okay, I'm going to be wrong on the short. And I thought, hey, maybe price does want to hit this weekly high after all today. And just because dollar hits some support, it can go sideways while this can, continue up one more leg. I've seen that happen before. So didn't play out that way. But the other opportunity that I see now after the fact is after lunch. I never got a 5-minute imbalance until way too late in the day. I was looking for another imbalance over here. You can kind of get one here, but it wasn't very clean, and obviously I was in the long at this time. But if I go to the 1 minute, right after the lunch hour ends, price creates this high, comes up again, fails to make a higher high, and then displaces lower. So once that happened and creates this gap, which could have been a first entry, eyes have to be on all of this liquidity down here as a target. And that would have been just an insane trade if I had seen it. If I had missed that one, there was another opportunity here after price wicked into this imbalance and created another aggressive move lower. So, this would have been even better because I would have had even more confirmation. And, this could have been an incredible trade down towards Asia low. And moved very, very quickly. So disappointed I actually tried after this to get in on a pullback here. I never got it, and price just continued on without me. So I pulled the order, and then price kind of just meandered around the rest of the day. There was a buy I got involved in here, and then when price rallied, I moved up to break even area. I got taken out, so more of a scratch trade. So just kind of a frustrating day where price wasn't really doing what I was expecting it to do when I was expecting it to do it, and that's just how it goes sometimes. We got the big up move before New York. I wanted it in time for New York because I was pretty confident we were going to go higher, but it happened before the session. And then just something that's interesting is how price didn't really do anything after that spike. We just created this consolidation range. And so looking for any sell signals, I just didn't see it obvious. This wasn't obvious enough to me, but I think in the future, if we get a consolidation in the whole morning session, we can look for that short-term high to be taken right after lunch and for some displacement to come in. All the shorts have been accumulated here by the big players, and now they're distributing it lower. So that would have been the play of the day for me, but we learn and we move on. So heading into tomorrow, I'm just going to keep an open mind. Clearly, we're vulnerable, I think, to go either way. I think there's risk either side. I think this still is in play for this week. Just because we get one wick here doesn't mean this whole thing's going to reverse. We could probably just stay consolidated, but we've pushed up on the daily above these highs. So I think we could come down. Safest thing is to wait for a swing low to form, or what possibly may be a swing low, meaning if we come and create a big, like a hammer or pin bar candle here, we might be able to anticipate the following day after that to expand back up towards the high. But I'm also going to keep an eye on the low of the day from yesterday. And if we start to move aggressively beneath this, then that's going to be something I want to keep an eye on. There's also some divergence between S&P and NASDAQ at the lows. So S&P took the low from Monday, whereas NASDAQ hasn't come anywhere close to it. So there is some strength here, and I'm keeping my eye on that. But just by that alone, there is no buy set up because of that at the moment. So we'll just have to keep an eye on where we are in New York tomorrow on Wednesday, and just try to make the next best trade we can. So that's it for today. We'll be back tomorrow.